And we're now going to talk a bit, because you've got this lady with you here who's been very quiet so far. And we're going to, I was going to say get her 2 bits worth, but maybe get a nickel's worth. And she's the Debtors Asitance Society, and that phone number is area code 604-951.
Oh, you want me to?
Oh, you got to look it up. It's not you. 951-4357. 951-4357. So the Debtors Asitance Society, and the office is over on 104th Avenue, is it?
In Surrey, yeah.
In Surrey.
Yeah.
Suite 303?
15225.
15225, 104th Avenue in Surrey, if you need to go and see them. So, Sherryl, how did you end up with this ragamuffin?
Mutual friends, mutual philosophies, and I had been in the credit industry for 18 years, found myself no longer working and ready to volunteer, and hooked up with the Debtors Asitance Society, and with Murray first of all, some of the other board members, and was invited to sit on the board, and was pleased to do it because I have the time and hopefully some of the knowledge,
well,
not to his extent. But
when you went out to the Salvation Army and you were lecturing or counseling or teaching or proposing to the ladies at the Salvation, now were we talking, it was downtown Vancouver, I take it. Does that mean that you had ladies off the street, or did you have people that were working in surrounding offices that were invited to come down? Tell me, because the Salvation Army has all sorts of different levels of...
This was a program that they run for single moms that want to better themselves, and they have ongoing weekly workshops.
Now, was it single moms? Was there no single dad parent
there?
There
Was no single dads there, no. And we were asked to come and speak on budgeting and debt issues that they might be dealing with, yeah.
And would you have found some of them there to have the financial difficulties that you might even have said, Hilda, you should be going bankrupt and getting a fresh start, or?
Of the ladies that were there and the format that we were following, we were going to be there for 45 minutes to an hour, and we were there for 3 hours.
Obviously something of interest, wasn't it?
Very much so.
Either that or they were all looking at
they were all
as a
looking at
father
Murray,
figure.
Yeah. Murray, of course, gave them all the legal advice that he could impart at the time, which was incredibly important. They wanted to learn about budgeting, and that's what I'd done with my previous life in the credit industry, was that I was actually a collector, so I worked with customers and helped them sort out their budget.
Isn't it awful being a collector?
I worked for department stores, so our philosophy was totally different, and actually I loved my job because we helped people understand about credit. Yeah.
For a very brief moment, I was the manager of financial collection agencies in Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
And let me tell you, it was the job I hated the most of any job I ever had in the world, and I lasted about 3 months.
Well,
The phoning up and blasting some young lady, her mother that had bought photographs from a traveling photographer who knocked on her door. Ugh. And she'd signed some contract that was 5 times more than she thought it was going to be, and so on. Was not my idea of life.
And I've been there, and I've done that, but not as a collector. The type of collections that I did were more of the specialized ones, in that I would take accounts where there was extreme difficulties or extreme circumstances where someone might find themselves in a medical situation that, through no fault of their own, they're unable to pay their debts, family emergencies, all sorts of different things. Seniors, financial abuse of seniors being huge. And I was privileged enough with the company that I worked for that I got to deal with those people and do investigating, counseling as to how they can manage their budget, how they may have to look at getting themselves out of debt, and the right that let them know that they have a right to a life. They don't have to eat Kraft dinner every night in order to repay every single debt that they had no knowledge they had, or that somebody had financially abused them. And
well, elder abuse is a major
huge
problem out there.
Huge.
And, have you got anything that you're setting up to help with elder abuse? Because I can
Most
think
definitely.
you could spend your rest of your life traveling to Vancouver, having meetings at church basements and socials and community centers for elder abuse. It's just
We can.
tell the people what your kids are going to do to you.
Yes, we can. And one of the board members, Dr. Sami, he has a practice in Maple Ridge, and his passion is also to see seniors get information and educate them not only about financial abuse, but what the realities are today of having caregivers, paying for caregivers, paying for medication that they have to pay for prior to fair care kicking in. He has, the same as the board, a passion to make sure that no matter what your age is that you have education on matters of handling your money.
Do you have, or are you proposing to have volunteers then that would go out to the Joseph and Mary who are 82 and 84 years old, have a problem? Could they phone you and have somebody come out and talk to them, or are you at that level yet?
We're not quite to that level. We do have people who are wanting to volunteer, who have been involved in the credit industry, know what the problems are, have a sensitivity, especially to the elderly population, or to disabled or people that aren't mobile. But at this point in time, what we're hoping to do is to be able to at least educate these people via the phone, via the internet, via email. And then if we see that it has to be expanded to home visits, then that's what we'll do. That's the beauty of being a brand new society and trying to make sure we meet the needs of the people that we're trying to educate.
And Murray, you have put these people up in your office and you're devoting your time and energy to it too.
Let me tell you a story.
I want to hear the story.
Talking about elders, I'm now officially an elder.
Well, me too. I got my old age pension check.
Welcome to the club. I had a couple come in to... No, you're a sweet young
spring
thing.
chicken,
Yeah. I had a couple come in to see me. I couldn't believe this, and it was, in a way, it was heartbreaking. They were both retired, just retired. And they came in to see me with their big brown or blue eyes, and they said, we're now retired, and in order to set ourselves up for retirement, we ran up $120,000 on our credit cards, and now we can't pay. And the kids had no hand in that. Mm-hmm. You know, it was, and I just looked at them. I thought, guys, you know, what have you done? You've ruined what chance you have of a kind of an even retirement, because you have to go bankrupt, and they did. And there was a lot of complaining about from the credit agencies, and rightfully so, because they ran this $120,000 up in 3 months, which is a no-no.
3 months?
3 months, which is a no-no under the Bankruptcy Act, because it's an abuse. And so there they were, looking forward to, you know, traveling down to Palm Springs with their video camera and what have you, and they were broke, and they were broke without thinking. It was really quite sad, and I know that so that's the people we want to reach. I kind of lean towards the basement of St. Mary's pitch, where we can batch process them, because I'm a little concerned about the cost of driving out to see individuals on a shoestring looks thick compared to our budget.
I got to ask, can you talk without violating anything? What did they run $120,000 up for in 3 months, or how? Or what on what? Planning for retirement.
Well, you had to have new furnishings. You had to have the condo painted. You had to have the big barbecue. You know, like the $5,000 barbecue.
So they just went out and
completely redid the wardrobes, got the flat screen TV. It was just a big TV anyway. May not have been a
that sounds more like a mental aberration than anything else.
I would have thought so, except there were two of them. So it was a joint aberration. common goals. And they agreed completely, and they were totally astounded by the result. And as you can see, I've never forgotten it. I found it dreadfully upsetting. How can people think that they're not going to have to pay this stuff back? Somebody told me not long ago, just while we're on the subject of credit, and the number astounded me, that if you had a $10,000 balance, and Sherryl will correct me if I'm wrong here because this is her department, and paid the minimum, it would take you 53 years to pay it off.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Man.
It goes forever. That was astounding.